Hey crew, on today's episode, we are talking about the not so fun Amazon inbound placement fee that just rolled out on March 1st. Hi, and welcome to Your Selling Podcast. I'm your host, Nikki Kirk, aka Your Selling Guide. In 2017, I quit a steady corporate desk job to travel the US in an RV. Along the way, I started selling on Amazon, grew multiple successful businesses, and wound up back to my roots as a small town girl. Today, I'm still doing what I love, selling on Amazon and helping other sellers start and grow their own online businesses. Each week on Your Selling Podcast, we will cover different aspects of selling online and highlight other sellers just like you and I. From part-time sellers creating extra income on the side to full-time sellers growing million-dollar businesses. Think of this as a sit-down with your Amazon bestie where we can learn and grow our online businesses together. Welcome to Your Selling Podcast. Welcome back to another episode. Today we are talking about the so awesome new Amazon fee that rolled out March 1st for all FBA shipments. I'm going to break down tips to avoid the fee if at all possible, but there's going to be basically a trade-off that we have to pick from, and I'll get into all of that in just a second. But first, I want to remind everyone that the Dallas meetup is officially, as of today, a month away. April 13th, we're meeting in Dallas, Texas, downtown Dallas. We're in the Deep Ellum area. I still don't know if I'm saying that right. I think I am, but we'll find out when we get to Dallas. It's going to be a really great time. I have a bunch of awesome sellers coming, and I would love to have you there as well. You can sign up RSVP at yoursellingguide.com/meetup. I'm going to have one-on-one offerings on the 12th, so Friday, April 12th. If you want to meet with me for an hour, we can sit, have coffee, tea, just chat about your Amazon business. It's a coaching opportunity if you want it. And then I also, if you'd rather go sourcing, I will take you sourcing and we can chat while we're sourcing. So either one is available. All of this is at yoursellingguide.com/meetup, and I really hope to see you in Dallas. Okay, so this new Amazon FBA inbound service fee, placement fee, whatever they're calling it. It is essentially, they kind of snuck it in during Q4, letting us know it was going to roll out. They talked about it on it was like the December 5th, they sent it out. And it was actually a lot of different things in that email. And what a lot of the community caught on to was there's going to be like if you have low stock, they might charge you more, blah, blah, blah. And that was what everyone was worried about, which what we should have been worried about is this placement fee that rolled out and is officially here as of March 1st. So essentially what Amazon's saying is they want us to send stock to the warehouses they want it, instead of, because of their extra costs that they're incurring, blah, 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 instead of how we've been doing it, which is, I'm in Oklahoma, so most of my stuff usually would go to Dallas or Charlotte, and like my whole one shipment would go there. And then it'll be moving around the warehouses doing FC transfer and all that jazz, which could take a couple of weeks. Now what they're saying is, basically, they're going to give us the opportunity to now I can send my shipment, split it out into 4+ warehouses and send it to the warehouses they want it at. The good thing about this is that obviously your stock will become more available because there's still going to be FC transfer, but it shouldn't be as long or maybe minimal. Because I know when I've sent when you get those one-off shipments where it's like 18 of your 300 items are going to one warehouse, as soon as it gets to that warehouse, it's like immediately available, which is awesome because now your stock is selling faster, right? But the trade-off is that now we're going to have to pay more in shipping fees because to send it to 4 warehouses is obviously going to cost more than if you could send it all. If you are fortunate enough to have a warehouse that you are sending to in your own state, then you already know that UPS is way cheaper if you're sending it ground in the same state you're already in. So unfortunately for me, because I'm going to do the Amazon optimized splits, the way you can get no fee, but unfortunately, if you're not going to do that, you are going to pay some more money. So here's what the fee looks like and the whole breakdown of the scenarios and how you can minimize it. If you're at your computer and you log into Seller Central, here's where you want to head to first to set up your settings for this. You go to the settings toggle and then you want to go to Fulfilled by Amazon. And in there, if you haven't already been there, you definitely should. There's a bunch of different options like your unfulfillable, when it'll get sent back, and you can automate it and all that kind of stuff. But the one we're talking about today is the third option called Inbound Settings. You want to click Edit on that and then go ahead and pick the option out of the 3 that are given here. And here's the breakdown of the 3. You have Amazon Optimized Splits. With this option, you can send your inventory to multiple locations, usually 4+ warehouses is what Amazon is telling us. So, I'm going to believe them. With this option, you're going to have your best chance to having little to no fees if you use this option. This is the option I have clicked on, and it would be the option I recommend for little to no additional fees added to your FBA shipments. Then you have the partial shipments. With this option, you will send your inventory to fewer locations, but you're going to pay a fee per item for every item in these shipments. And then you're going to pick your inbound region. It's important to note that Amazon is telling us that they are going to charge more for westbound ones. So if at all possible, I would choose not the western section, but east or central. Hopefully you're where we are. Now I do not know yet if it's going to affect, how it's going to affect people on the West Coast who would traditionally send to the West Coast anyways. You guys are going to have to tell me, are you having to pay more fee to send to the warehouse you were going to send it to anyways? Because I don't know what that's going to look like. It's still fresh and new, so I don't really know. And since I have optimized, I'm maybe never going to see that, so I don't really know. Then we have the minimal splits. With this option, you can send your inventory to a minimum locations and Amazon will spread it around. So this is kind of replacing the old inventory placement that used to be around. In the past, I would always recommend new sellers do inventory placement if you had to. I wouldn't do it. I never did it, but if you had to, because it would be an extra fee, but it would send your stuff to one location. So if you only had a couple items, maybe like 10 or 15 items, instead of sending them to 3 different warehouses, you could send them to one for a fee. It's really, I recommended it for new sellers because it's not about making the profit so much in the beginning. It's about getting your stuff there and selling and seeing that it works to encourage you to keep doing it. However, that inventory placement fee is totally gone. So the minimal shipment splits is basically replacing that, and we're going to have to pay more than you did in the past. I think it was 30 cents an item for inventory placement in the past, and now it's upwards. I mean, it's like $1. It could get up to $6, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But just something to note. So again, this option, you're going to send it to minimal locations at Amazon, and then they're going to spread it around, but you will have an additional per item fee for every item in your shipment. And then again, you're able to pick west, east, or central. And again, they're going to charge more fees for the western one. If you want to get this totally broken down in the show notes, I will post a blog link, which is like basically the transcript of this video, which will walk you through everything. And if you head to yoursellingguide.com/2024 FBA, it will take you to the Amazon website link, which has all of the breakdown of how the fee works. Again, all this will be linked in the show notes. Hey crew, is your Amazon business set up for success this year? Do you know how much profit you really made on the item you just sold? Or what about this? Do you notice when the Amazon FBA fees change on a product in your inventory? These are just some of the reasons why I love Sellerboard and why I've partnered with them on the You're Selling podcast. I have been using Sellerboard for 4 years now, and I absolutely do not know how I would run my business without it. I love how simple Sellerboard is to use. The desktop version is set up so easy. As soon as you connect your Amazon account, all of your products from the past, anything you've ever sold is going to flow into that. And the way I love it and use it the most is actually when I'm outsourcing. I have Sellerboard app right on my phone, and I can visually see the images of the products I'm selling today, yesterday, last month, last year, whatever I want to look at, I can see it in real time right on my Sellerboard app. Sellerboard is an affordable must-have tool for all Amazon sellers. And as listeners of this podcast, they have given you 2 months free to try it out for yourself. There's absolutely no credit card required to sign up, and you can cancel at any time. Head to yoursellingguide.com/sellerboardprofit to set up your free trial today. Again, yoursellingguide.com/sellerboardprofit to get your 2-month free trial today. Okay, so when you go to make your shipment in Seller Central, you will see all this. And for those of you who use Inventory Lab or another third party, I don't even know what other ones, but I'm sure there's other ones out there that do FBA shipments for you. If you're using any of those, you want to make sure you're setting up that setting still in Seller Central, because that's what's going to push through to your Inventory Lab or whatever other third party you are using. So you want to make sure you have Amazon optimized splits or whatever one you're choosing selected in Seller Central, even if you don't use it for your shipments. In Seller Central, now I haven't done an Inventory Lab shipment, so I don't know if it's going to tell me the fees at the upfront, but in Seller Central, they will give you the fee breakdown before you finish your shipment. So you will see it. They're going to charge the fees 45 days after your shipment is received and closed. So it is going to be a little while before you'll get charged that fee, is what they said. So we shall see. It should be like that because that's what they said it's going to be like. Whereas, you get your shipment fee, your shipping fee that you pay, that comes out right away. But they're saying it'll be 45 days when this placement fee will be on your account. Again, on the website link I've linked that goes to Seller Central, so yoursellingguide.com/2024 FBA, it's going to take you to the breakdown of these charts that I'm showing you now. So for the standard size one, it's telling you the 3 different options. So Amazon optimized, sending to 4+ locations, you're not going to have a fee. So this is your best option, is the Amazon optimized shipment splits. The partial shipments, you can see the fees anywhere from 12 cents up to 48 cents, depending on the item and how big it is. And then we have the minimal splits, which is the more fee. So you could be 21 cents if it's less than a pound, up to 68 cents an item for standard size. Then you have the bulky large fees. Again, Amazon optimized splits, no fees, sending to 4+ locations. You got the partial splits, which is the middle of the road one. That one's anywhere from 55 cents to $3.32 an item. This is a crazy amount of money that you might be having to pay in fees. So make sure you're paying attention. We're going to drop into paying attention in a little bit. These fees are really going to add up, and so many Amazon sellers already don't know their numbers. Shout out to Seller Board if you want to know your numbers. But because so many Amazon sellers already don't know their numbers, this can really be why isn't it working, Nikki? Why am I not making money? Because if you're not paying attention to all these fees, so you guys, it's really important now more than ever to really know your numbers. Then you have the minimal shipment splits. So with this one, again, these are for large and bulky items. It could be, if it's over 5 pounds or less, $2.16, all the way up to $6 additional fee if you wanted to do that way. Okay, these are very big fees that we might be paying. So now we're going to get into the tips on how you can potentially minimize outside of just the Amazon optimized splits. 4 tips to help minimize this new inventory placement fee. First tip is to break out your shipments before you even create the shipment. Make sure you separate standard and oversized. Like you just saw, that oversized shipping fee can really add up per item. So you might need to be, if you're going to sell a big item and you're going to FBA it, tip coming down the road is to FBM instead. But if you're going to FBA it, you need to buffer in a potential $6 additional fee for that. The reason I'm saying to break it out ahead of time, Amazon is already telling us that even if we have, even if you opted for the middle of the road or the minimum splits, and you're like, it's okay, I'm going to pay the fee, but you have clothing, large items, shoes, jewelry, dangerous hazmat goods in your shipment, Amazon's going to break it up anyways, because those items don't go to the same warehouse. I'm sure you guys know, but if you didn't know, if you have backpacks, shoes, clothing, any of those kind of items already get broken out and sent to their own warehouses. So if you include them in one big shipment, that's how I used to do. I used to make them all in one shipment, knowing they were going to get broken out anyways. But if you do it that way now, they're going to charge you, and you're going to have to send them more warehouses anyways. So I would recommend, and what I'm going to do going forward, is a bunch of little shipments. I don't know if they're going to be little or not. I don't have my stuff to send in yet. With the smaller shipment, so I'm going to be paying attention when I'm scanning in stores. Is this a standard size or is this a large item? Because that plays into the breaking out of the shipment. Amazon is telling us, if I have a bunch of large stuff with a bunch of standard stuff, they're going to break out that large stuff, and then I'm going to have to pay the fee to do that, plus to pay to send it to the warehouse that goes to. So in the Amazon app, there's currently no way that you can see if something is standard size, oversized, bulky, whatever they call it. If you use Seller Amp or Scoutify 2, which comes from Inventory Lab, those do tell you. So in Seller Amp, you'll see it in the alerts area. If you're watching this on YouTube, I have it on the screen to show you. You can see the object size right there. And then if you're using Inventory Lab, it's right there at the top next to the ASIN where everything is kind of listed. You can see it says standard or it says large. In the Amazon app, if that's what you're using to scan in stores, while you can't see how big it is, you can see the inventory placement potential fee. So to get to that, you would click through to the profit screen like normal, and then you get to the new revenue calculator. And on that screen, you would click fulfillment fees, and it's going to click through to all the different fees. Like you could add if you're going to add your polybag costs, like you can add a bunch of stuff there, which is cool. I don't have it, but if you want to see the potential inventory placement fee, you could toggle that on, and now it's going to give you a more accurate profit screen when you're scanning. Unfortunately, there is no way to just have that on. So you would have to do it for every single one. So just that is there for you while you are out scanning. So that was what I was talking about, is just paying attention while you're scanning. And then when you get home, break it out. Put all your large stuff, put all your shoes, put all your clothing in separate shipments. Because even if you don't, they're gonna get separated anyways. So if you were trying to save money on shipping, it's gonna get out separated. So you might as well just do it on the upfront to save from this new inbound fee. So that was basically tip 1 and 2 that I rolled all into one. Tip 1 was to break out your shipments by item, and tip 2 was to pay more attention using the apps when you're scanning. Okay, tip number 3. Avoid sending to the West Coast if at all possible. I talked about this earlier, but Amazon specifically says on their website that the West Coast region is going to cost more. So I'm going to believe them, and I'm going to not send it to the West Coast if at all possible. Like I said, I don't know what that means if you're on the West Coast and you send to the West Coast anyways. You're going to have to tell me, because I don't know what that's going to mean for you guys. And hopefully it doesn't mean more fees, because that would really suck because you live there. So what are you going to do? But you tell me. Comment on this video or on the podcast or on Instagram at Your Selling Guide and let me know. Tip number 4 is to FBM more of your stock. Specifically, if you want to start out, a great way to start is that apparel and the shoes, because shoes, you should always be, especially high-end shoes like Adidas, Nike, those kind of shoes that can get authentic claims. I would be taking photos of those shoes anyways before you send them, because unfortunately there's a lot of bad customers out there who will keep your shoes and return their old dirty shoes, and you want to have proof on the upfront. So it's a great opportunity to FBM that kind of stuff. Clothing, like baby clothing, shirts, whatever, that stuff, you're going to have a lot more returns anyway, so you might as well FBM it and take control of it. Clothing is super cheap to ship. If it's under a pound, which most of it is, it costs less than like $4, maybe $4.50, depending where it's going, to send it through like USPS through FBM. So it's really easy. You just get the poly mailers. They're like a poly bag, but they're opaque. You throw the shirt in there and off it goes to the post office or UPS or however you want to send it. So if you're going to do clothing anyways, you might as well just list it FBM, and you're going to pay less fees anyways. So if you didn't know this, you probably already do, but FBM, you only pay the referral fee. FBA, you're paying Amazon referral fee, the fee we pay to sell on their platform, plus the FBA pick and pack fee, and now this new inventory placement fee. So there's a lot of perks to doing FBM now. If you're not new, then you know I say this all the time, but if you are scared of FBM, you are really hindering your business and your growth, because there's so much profit potential. Most of my most profitable items are FBM, because you're taking advantage of shortages in supply, and people are paying more during Christmas or any of those holidays. You can get it to the customer. Like, you can't send as of, March 1st, basically, even maybe before, you can no longer send Easter stuff FBA, but there's all these weeks of selling that we can do before Easter arrives, and so you want to FBM it to be able to sell it. So there's a lot of perks to FBM, and now this is just one more. So if you guys are worried about it, I do have on my Nikki Kirk YouTube videos tons of FBM specific. I have an FBM 101. I have a shipping plan template video, which shows you my shipping templates. Like, there's no reason to be scared of it. Just get out there and do it, because you're going to save yourself a lot of money in fees. I've already been FBMing all my Hazmat stuff, because anytime I go to put it in a shipment, it always tells me I don't have any storage. Apparently my storage is 0. Now you can email Amazon and ask them to fix the storage for you if you really want to send it in FBA, but I just been FBMing my Hazmat stuff. It's really simple. If you're worried about it or you don't know what stickers it needs, I would take your product or just go to the post office or go to the UPS store and say, I'm shipping this. What labels do I need to add to it? And I have a free ground shipping template that I have specifically for Hazmat items, because you don't want your Hazmat items to go air shipping, because that is one against the law, and also they could explode and you never know what's going to happen. And so you want to send it ground, all your Hazmat stuff. So I've already been doing that, but you might want to consider doing that if you're someone who sends Hazmat stuff FBA currently. It might be worthwhile to start FBAing it. At the end of the day, this is my key takeaway to this new inventory placement fee. The FBA fees are always going to be here. They're going to increase every year. They have every year. There's no reason they're going to stop now. There's still tons and tons of products we can sell out there, retail arbitrage, FBA, but it's coming down to our choice of which fee we want to play. I'm going to be sending it in to the different warehouses, the optimized Amazon 4+ warehouses, because for me, the perk is that I don't have to pay that fee, and my stuff is potentially going to get to the Amazon warehouses and be available for sale faster. And that's what I would rather have versus, the options are we can pay more in shipping to warehouses, more warehouses, or we can pay the inventory placement fee. At the end of the day, it's up to you and your business which one is most cost effective for you. For me, I'm going to do the multiple warehouses because I don't really see a big downside to it, but we shall see when that shipping fees start to come out. So make sure, if anything, when you're out scanning, maybe you want to increase the buffer of profit. So my minimum is $5 profit, but that $5 now is after any potential fees, after the FBA fees. So you just want to be more aware when you're out scanning. Yes, it's going to be a little bit more difficult while we figure it out, but at the end of the day, just like selling on Amazon, once you get the hang of it, you'll have the hang of it and you'll just know. So it will get easier, but we're just in that limbo part where we're all figuring it out together. What has your experience been? Like I said, you can comment at Your Selling Guide. You can DM me on Instagram. That's the only DMs I answer. So if you ever DM me on Facebook, I don't answer there, but I answer on Instagram. Or you can comment on this video on YouTube at Your Selling Podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, don't forget to reach out to me if you would like to be a guest on the podcast. You can email me at podcast@yoursellingguide.com. Yes, it comes right to me. I'm the one who reads your emails. I'm the one who answers your emails. And I would love to have you on the podcast this year. So check us out at the Dallas meetup. I hope to see you there. And until next week, happy sourcing.